I at this point I'm just so like I don't even have words. At this point I just truly believe people just no longer even know left from right. Not at all. Nothing. Nada. Hey y'all, it's Ashley Bookishrealm. Welcome back to another video, or welcome if you're new here. I decided to do this video on a whim because I've never talked about this, and now I want to talk about it because it actually connects to the video that I just put up this week about unhauling. And I just literally was just surfing the internet, literally surfing the internet. And I come across this article, just looking up stuff about libraries, current state of libraries, particularly a lot of what's going on in Florida, just trying to keep up with the information. And I stumbled across this article that it showcases concerned Florida residents about a local library that is getting rid of books. And, you know, this conversation doesn't come up often in the book community, but quite often people who don't work in libraries, or people who've never worked in libraries or have no true investment or interest in libraries, love to make comments about libraries and love to tell people things about libraries. It's very fascinating. I always find it very interesting when people try to tell me about my profession and they've never worked in my profession, nor do they have any interest in working in my profession. So, this particular county, there were books that were being discarded and residents were concerned that the library was being wasteful. How dare you get rid of books? I just want to let everyone know that it is our job to discard books. Little do people know, libraries have a process called weeding. You know how you go outside and you pull weed so it doesn't infect and disturb your lawn, and so your lawn looks new and fresh and nice during the spring and the summer? Child, that's exactly the same thing that librarians do when it comes to their collections. Weeding is a normal process, and I wish people would stop posting these articles and doing these think pieces and getting on Twitter like, oh my gosh, libraries are being so wasteful. They're just throwing away books. They could be giving these books away to people. Y'all, we have guidelines, okay? Librarians are not just going across and looking at a shelf and saying, oh my God, throw it out. I don't like this, get rid of this. Grabbing a whole shelf of books and just throwing them out. That's not how it works, unfortunately. We have guidelines. They're called CREW guidelines. I will link those guidelines down below if you want to read more about them. Those are standards that most libraries follow, or they adapt some of those criteria that are in those guidelines to inform their own weeding process. Like I said in my unhaul video, which a lot of people do not know in the book community, a lot of people don't know in general, librarians do not keep damaged books. Books that are falling away from the spine, books that have water damage, unknown stains, icky, nasty, disgusting. Our philosophy is, if I would not take that home to my own house, why would I give it to a patron? Why would I send that home to somebody else? It's disgusting. Why would I do that? Let alone, as I told y'all in my last video, if your book gets water damage and it does not dry correctly and it starts to grow mold, do you know that mold can spread and ruin the rest of your books? So we invest your tax dollars into a collection, right? And you want us to keep books that could potentially ruin the good books that your good tax money pays for. I just want people to make it make sense. We also are not going to keep nonfiction books that are outdated, especially in fields like science and health. Why would a library keep books that are 20 years old about science and health-related materials when research is being done all of the time? Don't you think that we would want to recycle those materials and then add materials that are more up to date so you stay informed? But then again, I had to remind myself this is taking place in Florida, so staying up to date and staying informed is just not the universal thought process sometimes down there. I at this point, I'm convinced that Florida is its own separate entity, and they are very close to not even being a part of the United States anymore. There's a couple of states that are actually like that. No shade to those of you who I love and adore who are from Florida. I just get, I think, frustrated and also fascinated by this belief that libraries have the capacity to, one, own every book known to mankind. Two, we have the space to house everything. It's not possible. If I told y'all, as someone who works in collections, if I told you the amount of books that release on a weekly basis, you would be shocked of how many books come out, not just from major publishing houses, but from indie presses as well. How many books actually release in a single week? There is no way, one, that anybody has the budget to buy everything. Two, that everything is worth adding to a collection depending upon what area you're in and what your patron base wants. Three, we don't have the space, y'all. Libraries literally cannot keep everything. And so I always ask people, well, what do you want us to do? Because the policy for most libraries is if the books are in good condition, they usually end up going to community centers, or people usually have some type of department that takes, care of those materials. Or if they have agreements with certain companies, you know how y'all buy secondhand books, you'd be like, oh, it's an old library copy. How do you think you got the library copy? Like, connect the dots. I just need people to connect the dots here. So these books are not just trashed. The ones that are still in good condition, that can no longer fit or serve the purpose of the library, go on to better places. The ones that are damaged, that end up being in recycling bins or thrown away, are books that no one should have in their household. These are books that are damaged. They're damaged. They're not in good condition. I don't know why people go on this Captain Save-A-Ho mission with books that are damaged. I don't understand that. I for the life of me, I just don't. I don't get it. I don't think I'll ever get that. But people seem to be up in arms. And I've seen this over the past couple of years. And I am flabbergasted every time I come across any type of think piece, Twitter feed, news article that's like, the libraries are just wasting taxpayers' money by getting rid of these books. No. We're actually trying to be resourceful in how we use your taxpayer money by making sure that the collection stays fresh and appealing and nice. We don't want books that are grubby and disgusting ending up in your hands. So what should we do with those things? You want to take them home? If you want, for me, I don't know anybody that wants to take home, because you'd be surprised what people do to library books. The unmentionable things. If you just Google that, things that librarians find in books, you'd be surprised what people use as bookmarks. You'd be surprised what people do while they're reading books. What people allow their kids to do while they're reading library books, and then how they come back to us. We don't want that to go home. That's just disrespectful. If I was to look at a book that had, unmentionables, like something that looks like somebody crapped in the book and just gave it back to us. Granted, it could be chocolate, but I don't know what that is. Do you want me to keep that on the shelf and then send it right on home with you? Is that good use of your taxpayer money? And I know I'm being extremely snarky right now, but it just never, ever, ever, ever will make sense to me when people continuously make comments on how many books a library may or may not be getting rid of, and they don't do any investigative work on why those things may be happening. It's just these assumptions, and we're going to be up in arms. The same energy that people get about these books that are like literally trash, like literally should not be in anybody's homes. It always blows my mind that people are up in arms about this, but are not up in arms about the fact that our country is in the middle of a culture war right now, and they just want to get rid of everything off the shelves. That should be your concern. Books that are valuable, in great condition, are not dated, that are not damaged, that are showcasing all different walks of life. Those are the books that you should be concerned about that people are trying to remove. Not the book that literally is falling apart from the spine and pages are falling out with dookie stains all over the pages and water damage and science books that are 25 years old. People are so concerned about the wrong thing, and it literally blows my mind all the time. And I hope people do realize as well, books don't circulate for forever. Just because we purchase a book doesn't mean that 10 years from now, that book is still going to be circulating. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And a collection that definitely struggles with that is the YA collection. Their shelf life is really not that long. I don't know why people seem to think that their shelf life is long, but it is incredibly short because of the fast turnover. People are so interested in YA books, and then a couple of years later, it's no interest. Well, with Book Talk coming now, they've been reviving things that literally should stay where they were 10 years ago. But other than that, like, a great majority of them have their 1 to, I would say 2 to 5s, dude. Yeah, even bump it up a little bit, 3 to 5-ish steady rotation, and then eventually they just kind of, they fall out of sync, which is a normal part of working in a library. And I wish people would stop trying to dictate what really is happening in the background if you don't have the training, the knowledge, or the position to be making commentary about stuff. Y'all be talking about stuff you have no knowledge of. The same reason why Florida has a governor right now that continuously says this is where woke goes to die and has absolutely no idea where the word woke came from. Just co-opting words, using words because it's a buzzword, because he thinks it makes him look cool, not realizing that he don't know A from B at that point. He don't know what he's talking about. This is the same principle where y'all are making comments about stuff and you don't know nothing about it. You don't know nothing about it. So I just would appreciate it that before I see another one of these where people are up in arms, oh my gosh, libraries are throwing books away, they're being so wasteful. Can you just ask a librarian what's actually happening instead of trying to make it into a situation that's not really reality? We all would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I know this is very off kilter from what I normally do, but I just feel like for once and all, since I've never addressed it on my platform, I think I maybe have addressed it on Twitter once, but I've never addressed it here. I just want to let everybody know there's a rhyme and a reason as to why libraries do that, and they more often than not are justified in why they're getting rid of these books. They're not piling them up. It's not a burning ceremony. It's not getting rid of books just because they feel like it. It's methodical. There are reasons why those books get pulled off the shelf. This is not the equivalent of a book ban or a book challenge. This is simply looking at condition and age, circulation. That is it. That's it. And that's literally all I had to say. This is probably one of my shorter videos, but I got so irritated seeing it. I was like, I thought we have left this conversation in the past and we have acknowledged that librarians just need to be able to do their jobs. But then again, this country does not feel like librarians are capable of doing their jobs. So I really shouldn't be so surprised about this. Anyway, as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking to follow me on social media or looking for ways to support my channel via Patreon, all the links will be down in the description box below. And I will be back with another video soon. Deuces!